Warriors, welcome back to the
Here we
show.
go.
And to join us for this next segment, we have JC. You know him, you love him.
JC, the
welcome,
man.
Welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing really well actually.
Awesome.
The
Oh, it's
sun's
Josh's camera
shining.
that's
We're talking
low
about
quality.
a
I
new
thought it was
season.
the
We've got
stream.
stuff to talk about even past this. It'll be very nice. But we are going to talk about patch notes real quick. These are what you can expect.
Fight changes. Let's see.
15th. And to start off, we're going to talk about dodge attacks. We have some characters in the game that have them, some that don't, but we're bringing them to the ones that don't. So, JC,
okay.
walk us through it.
Yeah, so like we've previously announced when we came back from, I think, the last testing grounds, we're adding new dodge attacks to all 5 of these heroes. So Warmonger, Centurion, Blackbriar, Warlord, and Highlander. Max has a video, gorgeous video that can show you
dodge light.
what the dodge attacks actually look like. So they're, except for Highlander, they're
Dodge
all
light?
done with the light attack button. They're all 600 MS.
Oh, they're all dodge
done
light,
300
okay.
MS into the dodge. The lights are all enhanced. Highlander is with heavy. Made a bit more sense for Highlander, considering one
That's a light, yeah.
a bit better in defensive stance.
That's a heavy.
They're also
Okay.
only performable while you're in defensive stance. In offensive stance, you have like shorter recoveries for your dodge
Okay.
attacks for when you're dodging, so you're okay. And one thing that's important to note is that they also all have iframe, so that's really good. For all of these heroes, especially everybody but Highlander, you'll notice that they don't have like huge hitboxes, big trajectories, all that sort of stuff. That's because we designed them on purpose to be usable and be good at dealing with bashes specifically, but not necessarily be really, really good dodge attacks in the sense of
Can you chain from them
target
though?
swapping them and doing all those crazy things that some heroes are known for. This is literally just to make sure that these heroes are able to efficiently deal with bashes. Even though Blackbriar could from neutral, when you're in chains, you couldn't really go into bulwarks. So that's the idea here. We really want them to be good, but not be the best dodge attacks in the game, so that they're a little bit riskier to use because they're on light inputs most of the time. And so we want to take that direction a little bit, so that it makes a bit of sense there.
Awesome. Very excited to be bringing dodge attacks, especially for like Centurion and like Highlander. I've seen a lot of people talking about those many Reddit threads that I have seen. So
Okay.
Yeah, you needed them.
yeah. So let's move on to hero fight improvements. JC, what do we have here?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of changes to a lot of heroes this time.
Oh, yes.
I would say 99% buffs. We really wanted to focus on raising some heroes, getting them to be a bit more meta, not necessarily be like must picks or whatever, but really focusing a lot on like some quality of life stuff, making sure they're more playable and raising up the bar a little bit. So first we have zone attack cost, right?
See a lot of numbers here. A lot of
there's,
numbers.
There's a lot of numbers there, right? So I'm not going to go through all of them, but basically all of these heroes have lower stamina cost for their zone attacks. If your hero is not listed, don't worry, we didn't forget about them. We did a lot of changes here, so we're going to get to them eventually. But that's kind of the idea here. We wanted to lower the cost for all of these zone attacks to make sure that they're not you're not wasting half your stamina.
Finally, I can use Warden's Zone again. Let's go.
For Zanahu, those are very, very big buffs. For some other heroes, it's a little bit less, but it's still like it's a bit better. And we didn't go with a really completely standard route. We went to it like on a case by case basis, right? So sometimes it's better that they're 30 because they're faster, or they have properties. At 20 because they can be fast with no properties. For multi-hit zones as well, we did a lot of changes there to make sure that we're in a good spot here.
Beautiful, lots of numbers, but we also have some specific changes for some heroes. So we also
Warden Lights is sped up a bit.
Warlord, Berserker, Ochi, and Hitokiri. We have like very, very small quality of life things, but still very useful. So Warden's chain lights are now 500 MS, down from 6.
Yeah, let's go.
No-brainer. Like we should have done that a while ago, so it's good that we have them now. Warlord has updated trajectories and for movement on 4 Board and Blade. That's
nice.
The heavy attack that you do when you're in full block stance. It'll help you catch people that are dodging. Step forward a little bit more. You can't really just backwalk it anymore. So that should be quite good there.
Berserker HP buff.
Berserker has 10 more HP. Should help reinforce the hero's trader identity and make him a little bit less squishy. That should be good. Orochi's side of finishers are now 700 MS, down from 8.
Nice.
The idea here is that we want players to actually use Orochi's side of finishers in group fights. They already have huge trajectories. They're very, very good. But at 800 MS, they were a little bit too slow. So at 7, we're hoping that they're going to be a little more useful. And on top of that, because they are 7, Feint the guard break should be able to catch a bit more things.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to see
his gear
how
changes
that
are interesting.
that one. And finally, Hitokiri, his charge heavy attacks now cost 12 stamina. They used to cost 25. Before the CCU, those attacks specifically did not have an additional stamina cost when they were parried. That's why they used to cost 25. Now that all those things are removed, we've decided to like revert that change back, and now they cost 12. Gives a bit more stamina economy for Hitokiri. Should be really good down the line for
Cool.
this.
Good changes. I'm happy with
There's a
Warden.
lot that's coming with this, but now
Holy
we
shit,
have
okay.
even more deep dive, even more.
Holy shit,
granular
even more
details. We're starting
Always
with Peacekeeper.
more. Yeah,
more,
more, right? Okay. So Peacekeeper, Peacekeeper, we've adjusted a couple of things. The dire cancel. Okay, you can now cancel the recovery into a dodge from 200 to 300 ms. It used to be static at 333. So this should help Peacekeeper actually do more dire cancels and be able to dodge out of it, give her a bit more safety in group fights.
Okay.
And then we have they're a little bit like it might be a bit hard to understand right now, but basically what we've been doing for dashing thrust and the throws together is that we adjusted the time that you can perform a dashing thrust when you're doing a front dodge. So it's from 3 to 5, and it used to be static at from 2 to 5. Sorry, it used to be static at 3, and throws have a little bit less recovery. The intent here is that you should be able, with a Peacekeeper, to throw somebody, get them to wall splat, and then do a dodge for it heavy every single time without having to worry too much about positioning, timing, and all that sort of stuff. So it should be a lot more consistent to land now. Then we have the only nerf in the entire patch,
which is a fucking much needed one.
Guard break for Peacekeeper. They used to deal 38, which was way too high. So we've adjusted the bleed damage, a bit of how it works there, and it now deals 28. It's still above the curve.
That's a fucking much needed nerf, man.
You get all that stuff. You get a little bit more stuff there, but at the end of the day, like it's a lot more in line with the rest of the cast. We've also increased our forward movement on every single one of our neutral, chained, and finisher attacks. You used to be able to backwalk her a little bit, and it was like she had a hard
38 damage was stupid.
So with these
you gotta admit,
it should be a lot easier for it to really keep the pressure and stay in.
Great changes there.
We've also updated the trajectory for the zone attacks for the first strike, so that it matches the weapon a lot better. The trajectory is a bit bigger. It's not like it's less angled, so it works better. And finally, this one's a big one. Her crossbow feat, which is her tier 3 feat, it has a pretty short cooldown, and it used to deal 25 damage straight up, right? Which was still good. But now what we've changed it to do is it deals 15 direct damage. And
the only reason she was in S tier was because of the damage guard break damage.
The bleed damage there is super important. It
really should probably be like A now, maybe.
Be able to get those unblockables in.
Still good
the
though.
Synergy with other bleed heroes, and it's a lot easier to land that. You could go like externally because that's a lot of players.
For Jules, by the way, not for
Peacekeeper couldn't really do anything. Now when she has her feat 3, you can actually start to apply a lot more pressure when you're external with her.
Looking forward to playing Peacekeeper.
Ooh, Lawbringer changes.
Spliced. What are we doing at Lawboy?
You still here, Spliced?
So, Lawbringer doesn't have a ton of changes. Basically, we've done a big pass of adjusting the forward movement on his light attacks, his side heavy attacks. We've updated the weapon trajectories for the side heavies. They should no longer like just phase through some external opponents. That should work much better. And we've also like did a little bit of a pass on the input comfort for the parry follow-ups, so you can now perform them like 66 ms before, and because of that, we've also had to speed up impending riposte, which is the kind of the impale that we have after a parry, so that it would still fit.
Okay.
Basically, those
nothing really major.
They're meant to be quality of life changes that it's going to be a little bit easier to do these parry punishes.
Yeah, nothing major though.
All right, Kensei, right? So Kensei, all of his changes rely on they all revolve around this top heavy finisher. You could before just always every time you saw unblockable just roll away and deal with everything. So we've done a couple of changes. The chaining timing for chain lights into top heavy is now 100 ms.
Nice.
The attack itself has been sped up to 1100 ms and now feints to a fast guard break.
Oh.
And there's also increased for movement on top heavy finisher. This means that now if your opponents used to roll on reaction to you throwing that type of finisher, you can now just hit guard break, catch them with the fast guard break, get them while they're rolling, and it helps Kensei provide a lot more pressure this way and makes that top heavy finisher much better.
I may have to play. I don't really play a ton of Kensei, so I may have to jump on after these.
Yeah, it's an interesting difference there. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
I see a lot here for Nobushi.
Yeah, right. So for Nobushi, it looks like a lot, but it's not. you'll see it's relatively simple. We've updated the trajectories for all of your side heavy openers and finishers. Again, they didn't really match the weapon swings, so with this you'll be able to hit people better externally. So that works.
Okay.
Side Cobra Strikes, which are side dodge lights, they're now 533 MS. They used to be 6, and they now have iframes.
Oh
So
wow.
they're actual good dodge attacks now. They're not. You don't need to like delay them and make sure you do them at the right timing when you're dodging or whatever. Now they're always going to be able to have iframes. You're going to be able to do good with them.
Oh nice.
That's very good. Their side dodge heavies are also very good, but those didn't get updated because we wanted to have a version of it that was this is the dodge attack thing, and this one is the more like zone type of thing. So that's going to be a little bit different there. Front Cobra Strike is now 500 ms instead of 6, and you can do it from 2 to 500 ms in the front dodge. It used to be stuck at 300 there, and it was 600. So with this, like, it also gives that to be a little bit of a better peel tool. It lets you really like delay it and have like
that is pretty good for the peel.
A little better pressure there. We've also updated all of our recovery timings. Well, a bunch of them on all those listed attacks. I won't go into them, but we just wanted to normalize her recoveries because some of them were like extremely long. So when you would miss, or even if you would hit, if you didn't choose to chain afterwards, you were left wide open with Nobushi. So that's like a little bit of quality of life thing there.
I wonder how it'll affect the ganks and stuff with it.
Heavy finisher is now a left stance attack. It used to be top, so now being left means that you can actually throw it in the lane, be able to catch more enemies, more minions and stuff, and makes her like a bit better overall in the minion lanes. That should be a nice improvement there.
Pretty decent.
Wait, there's even more.
Nice.
There's always more, right?
There's always more.
Centurion. So we've increased the forward movement for the charge heavy openers, basically because Centurion didn't have a lot of reach, and so the pressure that the character could deal from externally was like not that good, honestly. On top of that, that's a really good pin. So you get your opponent, you pin them for a long time, you get a guaranteed ally heavy, works super well, so that's good. So with that bit of extra forward movement, it should help Centurion actually get into that groove a little bit better. And we've also changed Charge Punch. So we give it the Warden treatment, right? Which means that whenever you do a Charge Punch, if you fully charge it and your opponent did an early dodge attack, you should now pretty much always catch them, kind of like what Warden does.
Nice, that's good.
It was a bit of a problem now where you could some characters were able to fully avoid it. So with that change, we should be good to go in this change. So it has better tracking. It's a little bit faster. It's faster, and then there's like the stance, the armor kicks in a little bit earlier as well to make sure you get into a good situation here.
Nice little quality of life change.
And then up next we have Gladiator.
Yeah, Gladiator. Small change for Gladiator again, but still.
With the dodge attack as well, he's going to be pretty fun to play.
Cost 12 stamina. They used to cost 24, I think, which was like an insane number. On top of that, because they cost so much stamina and they don't guarantee the right damage afterwards, we felt like it really was time for Gladiator to have like a better side dodge bash.
Yeah, fair enough.
And we also increased the input window for counter jab, which is specifically after you parry and you hit guard break. We increased the window by 400 milliseconds. It's huge. It makes a big difference here. It should be much better here. Should the input comfort, you have a lot bigger window to hit.
Yeah, that's for people who parry and then they end up guard breaking because they didn't.
My favorite carnivore.
Yeah, Shaman.
Instead of doing a parry counter.
So Shaman has a couple of changes. Her heavy finishers have a bit more forward movement. Again, one of those heroes that was a bit lacking there. So target swapping or even against the same target, sometimes you could backwalk. It was a bit hard to really catch up to opponents. So with this, it should be it should feel better at least. It's not a massive increase, right? But it still makes a bit of a difference here. Her left heavy finisher is now 900 ms. It used to be, I think, 1,000 or 1,100. I'm not sure, but you used to be able to on reaction see unblockable, and then your opponent would just hit light and beat you out of it every single time. Now at 900, if your opponent mashes light after you perform the light, so Shaman does light into left heavy finisher, and your opponent mashes light in between, you're gonna trade with Shaman.
Yeah, I thought so.
Which means that Shaman's gonna win the trade because she deals a lot more damage with those heavy finishers than a neutral light.
That's nice.
But still, it's something that we're trying out here where it's still interruptible, but at the same time, it's a trade where Shaman wins. So we want to see where that goes.
That's nice.
In that aspect. We've also lowered Predator's Hunger's stamina cost to 12. So that makes it, again, it helps with the stamina economy. And we've also removed the stamina penalty when you're switching from Wildcat's Rage, which was dodge forward bash. Actually, no, that's dodge forward heavy, and Predator's Mercy and Hunger, which are dodge forward bash, right? So the idea here is that dodge forward or dodge back is that you could do dodge forward heavy and then tap guard break while that was going, She stops, puts her weapons away, and then keeps going forward. So you could switch between the two kind of different attacks.
I didn't even know you could do that.
It would actually cost you stamina. And so because you've already paid the stamina upfront once, we felt like that wasn't really necessary anymore. So we've decided to remove it. Gives her again better stamina economy. So you should be more free to be.
What do you guys think of the changes so far? More often. Nice quality of life changes.
Nice. All right. Beef, right? So we've increased Tenebrous Trust for movement, so that does for it heavy. We really wanted to be able to catch more people.
That's
so
pretty good.
It might not
AP is going to be good this season, man.
Or whatever, but at least with that bit of increased movement, you should be able to catch people from a bit further away. So that should help. His sprint attack is now 700 ms. Used to be much slower, dealt a lot more damage, but because of the speed it had, it was completely useless. Like it's sad to say, but it really wasn't good. So at that
sprint
speed
attack
now, with that damage, it's a lot more in line with what other sprint attacks are. So that should work quite well. And finally, Bulwark Slash. We've lowered its guard break vulnerability to 100 ms, right? So that's gonna be similar to like Kyoshin and some other heroes that can attack out of their down stance. And the big thing here is that beforehand,
is that because the stamina changes?
And you went to down stance, you had a guaranteed guard break every single time, because reacting to that down stance, Blackbird didn't have anything he could do to actually beat that guard break. So now Blackbird does down and then heavy right away. If you try to guard break, you're gonna get hit by that heavy unblockable. So it gives Blackbird a little bit more safety here. Good. Lets him use that attack a little bit more often and makes him a little bit less vulnerable as well in these kinds of situations.
Nice. EP's gonna be good this season, man.
Yeah.
With the dodge attack as well.
Warmonger, right? So Warmonger.
Being a popular pick in duels.
The War Mommy, yeah. So her heavy finishers now gain uninterruptible stance. That's armor for people at 100 ms. It used to be much later. This is to be like a lot more in line with other heroes we've been doing that have that type of armor in their finishers. Should let her trade with dodge attacks a lot better.
Brain Claw now deals 8 bleed damage.
Fights let her land those heavies. So that's very good. And then we've done changes to Praying Claw. So Praying Claw used to be just a regular bash, didn't really do anything. Slashes you with her claws. So what we've done is that Praying Claw itself now deals 8 bleed damage up front.
He said War Mommy, did he?
Compensate,
did he say War Mommy?
Lowered the damage of the stab and the slash for light and heavy follow-ups by 8, so that you still deal the same amount of damage when you're doing those follow-ups, but at least you're gonna get a little bit of bleed.
A bash bleeds? What?
Helps you synergize with like
that's so good. I mean, it makes sense.
Nobushi, Shaman, Peacekeeper, all that sort of stuff. So we're hoping
it makes sense because she's got the fucking claws, right?
Create new team comps, and at the same time make the hero just better in general, having a
wow, from them. What a change! Holy shit! Did not expect that.
And then we saved the best for last, of course.
Did not expect that.
Yeah,
Daddy.
Yeah, right. So Gryphon again,
Peace, Daddy.
Veterans Lesson, which is the heavy finishers. They gain uninterruptible stance at 100 ms, down from 5. Again, it's to be able to trade better.
Wow.
Have more safety in group fights. That works quite well.
And we're getting the Magi treatment,
which is side dodge heavies. So the miss recoveries are a little bit faster, and you now gain defense at 500 ms. So it makes them a lot safer, right? Whenever you do them, you would be left wide open for a super long period of time. So now target swapping those attacks in group fights should work way better. Should have more effectiveness. So that's kind of the idea here for Gryphon. So that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I believe so. That was a lot that we covered.
Crazy, and, some good changes.
If you want to go back and read some other things, or if there's anything that you missed, you can always go ahead and read the patch notes over on our website. And we'll make sure we have everything there listed and everything all nice.